AI sandboxes are slow, opaque, and occasionally duplicate data. Vercel has just open sourced the reference stack for exactly this problem. It's called Open Agents. In the next 90 minutes, I'm deploying it from scratch to my own account and deciding whether it's good enough to replace what we built. No edits. Let's go. On the 13th, which was Tuesday, I believe, Guillermo, the CEO and founder of Vercel, announced today we're open sourcing openagents.dev, a reference platform for cloud coding agents. You've heard that companies like Stripe, Minions, Ramp, Inspect, Spotify, Honk, and Block Goose, and others are building their own AI software factories. Why? One, on a technical level, off-the-shelf coding agents don't perform well with huge monorepos, don't have your institutional knowledge, integrations, and custom workflows. Two, on a business level, the moat of software companies will shift from the code they wrote to the means of production of that code. The alpha is in your factory. Open Agents deploys to Vercel's agentic infrastructure, Fluid for running the agent's brain, Workflow for its long-running durability, Sandbox for secure code execution, and AI Gateway for multimodal tenants, multi-model tenants. Because of Vercel's focus on open SDKs and runtimes, this code base is a gem, even if you're not hosting it on Vercel. TLDR, if you're building an open or user-facing agentic coding platform, use this. Open Agents comes as a one-click deployable template. It also has an app that we'll look at shortly, already hosted. It's an open source platform that gives you everything you need to build and run your own background coding agents on Vercel. So Open Agents is an open source reference app for building and running background and coding agents on Vercel. It includes the web UI, the agent runtime, sandbox orchestration, and the GitHub integration needed to go from prompt to code change without keeping your laptop involved. The repo is meant to be forked and adapted, not treated as a black box. What is it? Open Agents is a 3-layer system. It's got the web interface, an agent workflow, and a sandbox VM. Without going any further, let's look at what it is real quick and how it works, and then we'll keep going in deeper. So it's openagents.dev. Open-agents.dev is where you go to access it. Am I not sharing screen? No, I am. Great. When you get over here, I've already logged in. You can create a new session. I like doing it off of my monorepo. You start. Looks like I need to continue off of this session, which is fine. And so then I can say something like, pull the latest changes from each submodule. Because this is a monorepo, there's a bunch of repos inside of our monorepo, and we've been merging a lot of changes. And so now we want to make that update. You can see that it took 10 seconds for the first response to come back. It automatically uses tasks to break down what I said into multiple different steps. And we've got all these tool calls, which we can see what's actually going on in the sandbox. It's running bash commands. It's using Git. It's doing them step by step. We can click in and see exactly what's going on inside of the sandbox. Great observability. It's trying to do some updates. It looks like it's failing. Don't know what that failure was, but okay, it looks like it is. It's updating the status. All tasks were completed. Once the sandbox output finishes, it then comes back. Yada, yada. So it looks like it didn't initialize all of them. Initialize submodules. I would have expected it to do that, but it didn't. So I'll just manually tell it initialize the submodules. So this is the web interface. The web interface then communicates with an agent. The agent then has access to a sandbox. So you can see here, the web interface sends the response. The agent then interacts with the sandbox, and the sandbox, it starts off collapsed to not overwhelm, but when it finishes, the agent then gets the responses, and then the agent then replies to me. So the agent is this durable, long-running middleware, which allows me to do things like I can refresh the page. and this workflow is durable, so it's still running even if I leave it. So I can even copy this. I can close the page. I can open it up again in a different tab. I haven't kept the session persistent. I totally left. But because of Vercel's durable workflows, it continues to run. And then when it finishes with that sandbox run, it goes back to the agent. The agent then is able to give me a response. I can click into any of these and I can see if it's a specific file, and I can be able to view those. If it's something like a specific file, I can actually see what's inside of that file right here inside. And so it's fast, it's observable, it's durable. It's got a lot of bells and whistles on it. This is already leaps and bounds better than what we have over here. This is our current Recoup chat app. If I say something like, check out this PR locally and try to find a solution, we send a request from the web interface to our agents on the back end. And then agents on the back end, this time it actually failed because Opus 4.7 needs updated on. There's some nuances with Opus 4.7 that we haven't integrated yet. Let me try it again with Opus 4.6. And then it starts to think. The agent then creates a task with the sandbox. This is the sandbox. It's its own isolated environment. And the observability and the communication back and forth is much slower. One, if I refresh this page, all of my work's going to disappear. So I'm going to open this up in a new tab before I do. I refresh the page and then my entire chat experience is lost because we're not running durable workflows here. The chat, we have our initial message, but the rest of it's just gone. So we're not durable. Our communication with our sandbox is also not up to snuff. You can see we connected to a sandbox and then it's taking a while, but we'll never actually see the bash commands being emitted because we don't have good observability on the sandbox. So one, Recoup currently is not durable in its streaming. Two, the sandbox is not very observable. It exists in a task that controls the sandbox and the agent lives inside of the sandbox. Three, the skills that we run in the pipeline that we run are very fragile, and we find that they duplicate artists and do weird things often. So we've home rolled our usage of the sandbox right now. We put the agent inside of the sandbox. I say all of that to show you what we're working towards, which is durable streams, streaming of a sandbox, an agent controlling a sandbox, great web UI, as well as the problem, fragile threads, agents running inside of a sandbox that are not very observable. And let's dig a little bit deeper into what it is. Open Agents is a 3-layer system. Again, you have the web, the agentic workflow, and the sandbox VM. The web app handles the auth, sessions, chat, and streaming UI. The agent runs as a durable workflow on Vercel. And then the sandbox is the execution environment where you have the file system, shell, Git, dev servers, and the preview ports. The key architectural design is that the agent is not the sandbox. This is a big difference between what I've built and what Vercel is currently displaying. The agent does not run inside the VM. It runs outside the sandbox and interacts with it through tools like file reads, edits, search, and shell commands. The separation is the main point of the project, and it's the main difference that Vercel is building here than what we have in our own project. Agent execution is not tied to a single request lifecycle. Sandbox lifecycle can hibernate and resume independently. Model provider and choices in sandbox implementation can evolve separately, and the VM stays a plain execution environment instead of becoming the control plane. We could keep reading through here, but I would like us to get jumping into the actual demo. So let's look at how we can clone it. Let's go over to the GitHub repo, and I'm just going to start talking to, I use Opus 4.7, and let's get started. Help me figure out how to clone and set up this repo. What's the first thing I need to do? Let's just start there. What do I need to do in order to get started? Here's the GitHub repo. I can see that there's a web app, there's docs, there's packages, a lot of stuff, and all the docs are in here. I don't want to read through it. I'm busy given the stream, so I would like to just be told First thing, generate your own 2 secrets before you click anything. The Vercel deploy flow will prompt them. You don't want to be running OpenSSL inside the flow with dead air on stream. I'm already on stream. Run these in a terminal right now and paste them into a scratch note. We need a JWE secret and an encryption key. Then click the deploy with Vercel button. So I guess it just wants me to click the deploy with Vercel button. Let's try it. Let's try just clicking the deploy button. We'll put this inside of Recoup if possible, and we'll call it Open Agents. It's in our recoupable Vercel team, and let's create it. So I'm just using their one-click deploy to see if it's that easy and it works. Add a storage to read and write directly to your project. 0 config, scalable. Let's add Neon for now. We'll create a Neon serverless Postgres. No auth, free tier. Run it. I'm going to call this delete me. It's anything I create, I'm going to assume is exposed on the stream. We have created a Postgres database, connect it with all of our environments, and let's go ahead and connect it. We've connected it. It looks like it's also recommending Redis, so we'll also add a Redis instance. If possible, I'll use the free plan. Continue. We'll call this one also delete me, and we'll create the Redis instance. Postgres is for more durable backend database. Redis is for more queue-based, short-lived data. Do this final connect to our Open Agents project. We now have a serverless instance. We have a Redis instance. I don't know the Postgres URL. I don't know why it's asking me for it. These are all the secrets. Generate GWE. Okay, so that's the same thing it's telling us to do. Please generate and I'm just going to have it generate them for now. Then add your Vercel auth and GitHub app credentials for full deployment. We're going to do this step by step and see where we get stuck. So we got a JWE secret. Do not leak. They just appeared in this chat. If you stream Claude code, they're leaked. I think that's fine. It's generating just random stuff. Is it okay if I expose these on stream and delete once I finish streaming? Let's see what it says. Yes, if it's a throwaway, you rotate both secrets the moment the stream ends. No, if this deployment will become something with real uses. Okay, so we got JWE and we got our encryption key. Let's put our encryption key in here and let's deploy. It's all missing. You said it can provide it automatically. Can I just put an empty space in them? I don't think so. I'm just going to put the letter A. Today's message provided to you by the letter A. Okay. Let's verify we have this. We should now have our fork inside of recoupable. And we can see here's Recoup's version of Open Agents. This has been cloned, and this is also synced with our Vercel deployment. It's building. I have a feeling it's going to crash because most of the environment variables I put in were fake. but we'll see if it works or if it fails. While we're waiting, here's what I'm going to be comparing it against. So the goal is to decide if OpenAgent solves Recoup Sandbox and agent pain. For each of the criteria, we're going to store on a steal. Do we take it and move it in? Port, do we port our solution to theirs? Do we skip it or do we reject it? Steal means worth a post-stream spike, and then reject means close the tab and move on. Sandbox startup latency. Our hypothesis is that OpenAgents is faster because the agent runs outside of the VM, so the first token is not gated by a VM boot. Second one is Git management consistency. OpenAgent models Git as an explicit workflow step, not as an ad hoc shell, so the state is deterministic. Sandbox observability, our hypothesis is that durable workflows give us a free audit log, every step being persisted, inspectable, and replayable. And then finally, idempotency and duplication. The real question out here is whether OpenAgents has a pattern. Our duplication almost certainly comes from SugarDev retrying and rerunning non-idempotent create scripts. So these are what we're going to evaluate it on when it finishes. As expected, the deployment failed. The deployment does not specifically tell us here why it failed, so we'll just go to the project and we'll start filling in those missing variables until we get a successful deployment. First, jump over to settings, environment variables. Let's see what we've got. I want to not do that. Help me find the missing env variables. So it looks like a lot of these are provided by Neon, and then they're provided by Upstash. I think the ones specific list not automatically added. It's this. We need our GitHub app private key, GitHub app ID. So we need to set up a GitHub app, which seems like something that's going to take us a little while. Get a whole bunch of GitHub variables. I don't know why we need the client ID twice, but we'll follow along with what it says. Encryption key, JWT secret, JWE secret, and then this. Neon integration, OpenAgent specifically needs Postgres. That one isn't in your pasted list. We have our Postgres URL. Yep, it's all looking good here. Database URL. Yep, it's all looking good here. Okay. Heads up, you can't fill any of those. They come out of the apps you haven't created, and those apps need your production URL, so the order is stuck. Deploy first, create app second. We have a chicken and egg problem. What they split into from your OAuth, from GitHub, get past the initial deploy. I pasted literal TBD and the deploy failed. Can you inspect? Let's find that deployment and give it directly to our agent so that it can help me debug what we need to do in order to progress. No output directory named public. Okay, so it looks like our output directory is actually what failed. So I need to update one of the build steps, which it should tell me where we need to update that to. found it. The build has actually succeeded. It failed at the very end because Vercel was looking for a build output in the wrong directory. Project settings, general root directory. So we'll go to project settings, general, maybe build and deploy. There we go. Root directory. Change it from empty root to apps/web. So let's change this to app web. Then we've saved it. Let's go back to deployments and do a new deployment. Let's create a deployment of main and see if that works. Okay, another build. Last one was 57 seconds. That's pretty fast. So we'll wait here and see what else Opus 4.7 is telling us to do. Claude Code, duplicating a lot recently. Once the output directory has been updated, Vercel will auto-detect Next.js, and then it should run. It should have auto-detected. I actually didn't check if it did auto-detect. It's still saying other here. So I think I should change it to next. Yeah, might need to run one more here. We'll see when we go back to deployments if it succeeds or not. Still running TypeScript. Build was completed this time. Okay. Looks like build is now successful. Here's the live domain. Whoops, that's not the... landing page shows 404. What's our next step? Perfect. There's our callbacks. So the first thing we want to do is create a Vercel OAuth app. Let's do that. Can I do it inside of Recoup? Let's try switching this over to Recoup. Looks like I can. So we'll make a new, create an integration. Pick OAuth as the integration type. Uh-oh. We'll call this Recoup Open Agents. Logo is required. Okay. Let's see if I can find Recoup's logo. There's a Recoup logo. Category is agents. Agents for anyone to build their own record label. URL slug, integrations, Recoup, open agents. Developer is Recoupable LLC. Contact email is Sydney@recoupable.com. Support as well, extended description. Gonna https://recoupable.com, https://developers.recoupable.com. I don't know if we have recoupable. We have a terms of use and we have a privacy policy. I'll throw those in. Terms of use, and we should have a privacy policy down at the bottom. Additional info, featured settings, redirects. We have a callback. Don't know if we have a redirect. Don't know what scopes. Is OAuth an option? I don't see anything for OAuth. Webhook URL, nope. I'm gonna try to just create this. Redirect. What values should I put for So this is not an easy, just right out of the box deploy. You do need, there is some friction with you needing to set up some apps, which is fine. Redirect URI, redirect, boom. And then we need the login. Let's create, now we're just missing a description and featured images. Description. Short description we should have, we do. Okay. And now we should just be missing what? We've got a description in here. We've got the description. Oh, where was the red box? There we go. Now we are just missing featured images. Wherever featured images are of your integration details page, I'm just going to go recoupable.com and I'm just going to take a screenshot here. And we will add that. Can I drag and drop? Nope. We'll save the image. Whatever it wants me to save it as. Click the plus button, upload the image. Upload the screenshot, add the image. Has it, okay, needs to have an aspect ratio of 16:9. Change aspect ratio web. Let's see if we can get an image. Free image aspect ratio changer online. Select the file. Upload our image. 16:9. Allow crop outside. Whoa. Let's drag there. Are we still 16:9? We are. Crop and download. Looks like we got our download. Come back here. Clear that image. Upload an image. Select our new. This one looks cropped. Womp womp. Let's try this new one. Getting an error. Can you look at the screenshots on my desktop, new ones, and fix the image? Tried to use the web didn't work, so let's just have Claude update the image I need. How are we doing on time? 30 minutes. We're halfway through the call. We've already done a review on what it looks like deployed, looked at what our current system looks like and how it can be improved, what the problems are. And now we're working through the deployment. We've already deployed. Now we're working on getting it to work so that we can have our own self-hosted version of Open Agents. Once we have our own self-hosted version, we can then go in and make updates and make it our own. But the first step is to get it working as it was out of the box, host it on our own domain, so that way we can start to iterate. Nice thing about telling our agent to modify the image is modifying images is very easy in a CLI using Bash. It was in downloads, not desktop. Yep. And it can update it pretty easily just using Bash and CLI. 2 is the rejected. Let me crop it. Yep. Featured image 16.9. Let's clear that. Find desktop, featured image 16.9. Add it. There we go. Now we've got an image. Let's try creating. We've now created the integration. Integration created successfully. What's next? Now wire, go into the integration, look for client ID and client secret. Open Agents, we're looking for credentials, client ID, and client secret. We'll take these into Open Agents for settings, environment variables, Vercel client secret. I'll just type Vercel up here. Client ID, edit that, make it the client ID, save that, and now we need to find the client secret. Client secret, copied it, update the client secret with this value, save it. Done, added the and to Vercel. What's next? Go back to build and deploy. I'm going to deploy it again. Create a deployment. Each time we change our environment variables, we need to make sure to do a new deployment. That way our environment variables are injected with the build. Okay, redeploy, test the sign-in. Okay, I guess we should now be able to test the sign-in. And if it works, we'll move on to the GitHub app. Let's see if it works now. Build triggered here. I try to give my agent as much access to all of the services as possible. That way it has observability and can help. Give it some time. Should be almost finished. Build is complete. It's deploying the outputs. Outputs are deployed. Let's just visit and see. Oh, it looks like we can see open agents now. We've gone from seeing an empty 404 page to now we can actually see the login. Let's try sign in with Vercel. Okay. I see the login page now. When I click the sign in with Vercel button, I see this error. The app ID is invalid. So does that mean that we have to publish it first? Or recognize you pasted the wrong field, look at your browser's address bar. Here's what I see. And let's go back to little tilde integrations. Recoup open agents. Do I need to publish this? Credential. Do I need to install the integration? Caught it. Look at the redirect. Decoded. You're visiting the wrong page again. Not the one we just configured. The app builds from whatever host. You're signed in on a different project. Let me confirm what this ghost project actually is. Confirmed. It's not in your team. What? Here's the project in my team. Open the correct URL. We need to go here. Okay. I just noticed that it has deployment protection. We don't want that. Bookmark it. Kill your ghost project. Find the other open agents project, delete it. Once you're on the correct URL, hit sign in with Vercel again. Okay, I'm on the project. Let's click sign in with Vercel again. I'll tell it to use Google DevTools MCP to open the URL yourself. What's A? Go to the integration, redirect, change it to this. Let's change our redirect URL to this then. So we go over into tilde integrations console. Just opened up its own browser, so it's going to start working on it over there. We want to go to our integrations. And I'm looking for the redirect URI. redirect URL. Okay, we got a different URL in there now. Update it. Confirmed. I now see the clue. It links to, that reveals the actual problem, not a generic marketplace integration. We took the wrong path when we went through the integration console, which is for listing, not for users signing in. Okay. Interesting. So it sounds like we need a different level of integration for sign in with Vercel. Which makes sense. Let's see what it tells us. 1, create an app, auto-generated. What? Apps. Okay, so we should be going to apps instead of integrations. Let's go to the apps page now. If I need an app, I should be able to delete the, I'm going to delete the integration. Let's remove the integration. Just clean this up now. There we go. We got rid of that integration, no longer being used. Now we're doing an app. We're done with integrations. We're doing apps. Recoup open agents. Let's add in a logo from downloads. Where did that Recoup logo go? Recoup logo is right here. All right, set that. Save the app. Okay, now we got the app, https://recoupable.com. Description, Recoup lets anyone build a record label. Grant type, I don't know what any of this is. Authorization, yada, yada. Let's just save. I would like authentication. I would like what is it going to tell me? Name, logo, okay. Keep default. Generate a client secret. We got a client secret. Configuration, non-default, register all 3 passable, current host. Okay, first let's use this client secret. So we take the client secret. Let's go back to Vercel for Recoup. I think it's going to be /open agents. And then from here, we want to go into settings. Settings, environment variables. We want to update the client secret. What else? Let's go back to the app. And we want to go to, where do we want to go? I think general. Authorization callback URL. Authorization callback URL, we're going to give it all of these domains right here. Give it this one. And we'll give it this final third one. Localhost shouldn't matter. I doubt we're going to be doing it locally, so honestly, I'm going to remove that. Note path is with Vercel in it, not the generic from the docs. Permissions, we need to enable where are the permissions. First, let's save this. Let's go to permissions. And over here on permissions, we need OpenID, we need email, we need profile, and offline access. Those are all now enabled. Copy the client ID. Where do I find the client ID. General. Here's our client ID. Okay, so now we got the client ID. We need Vercel, next public, edit this. We should now have everything we need to be able to do a redeploy. I don't trust the button. Go to deployments, create a deployment on main, and let's trigger that deployment. Takes about a minute to do the deploy. And once it finishes, we expect the big change to be that we should now be able to log in with Vercel, which is something we weren't able to do before. Close out of some of these tabs, which are no longer being used. Cool. We're building. Last one didn't work because we created a Vercel integration instead of a Vercel app. We've now fixed that. Working on creating a Vercel app instead of a Vercel integration. Testing again. Let's open up the app. Try to sign in with Vercel. This time we can see a login to sign in with Vercel. I'll allow it. And once I go back, I can now see a session. Vercel login worked. I can now see a new session button. Create a new session from repository, choose repositories, and now it should tell me, you don't have the GitHub app set up. When I clicked the button, what button did I click? Choose repositories. I am redirected to a 404 on GitHub. How do I fix it? It's nice that I don't need to know any of this setup stuff. I can just tell my LLM what the error is, and then it can help me. It can help guide me to do exactly what I need to do, and I can stay focused on being the human in the loop, because most apps aren't ready for agents to build without a human in the loop, and the agent can be my brain behind the scenes. Homepage URL. Callback URL. Request user authentication during installation. Redirect on update. Redirect on update. Webhook URL active. URL. This is so great. It gives me everything I need. Secret. I need the secret. Give me that secret. Webhook secret. any account. Repository permissions, we need contents. Contents, we need read write. Metadata, we need read. Pull requests, we need read and write. Pull requests, we need read and write. Organizational permissions, members read. Organizational permissions, we need members read only. Subscribe to events, leave defaults unchecked, easy to add later, then click create GitHub app. Create the GitHub app. Homepage URL must be valid. I think I had an extra space there. And they can't do string trimming for some reason. Okay, now let's start to fill these into our environment variables in Vercel. Go back to settings, environment variables. Let's add GitHub. Webhook secret I just generated. Edit, add the webhook secret. Client ID, I believe I just saw. Client ID is right here. Client ID, edit. Let's see where client secret is. Generate a new client secret. This is the client secret. What else do we need? Webhook secret we've already got. We got client secret, client ID, webhook secret, app ID we need. App ID is right here. App ID, app private key, and app slug. Let's see where private key is found. Scroll to private keys and we want to generate a private key. Private keys, we want to generate a private key. Just downloaded it. How do I? Yeah, okay, so the PEM file I don't know what to do with yet. App slug. The URL friendly, visible in the app's URL. Open agents recoup. Everything is set except GitHub app private key. PEM needs converting, easiest. Okay, let's see if it can find the file. Hopefully it can. Looks like it found it. So now it's gonna paste that entire string. Control O. Okay, we need this string. I have a feeling it's gonna have spaces in it. Let's see if it does. Edit, dismiss, edit. Yeah, it's got a whole bunch of new lines. Remove new lines, web. Remove all line breaks. Remove all the line breaks. Copy to clipboard, come back here. Is it all together now? Yeah, but we've got a bunch of spaces. Should be at least easier to clean up these spaces. It's kind of a long key. Hopefully this doesn't take me too long. Okay. We've got all of our new environment variables set. Let's go back to our deployments and make a new deployment and see if it works now. We've gone from 57 seconds all the way up to 1 minute and 4. So our deploys are slowly taking longer and longer. I just triggered a redeploy. Redeploy, and then we'll try it again. So we're almost at an hour. So far, we have talked about what the problem is with Recoup. We have filled in the details of how open agents could improve it. And now I'm trying to go from their hosted app into a version that we host. That way I can take it and start modifying it and making it our own. The biggest changes that I'm going to, so far, the hypotheses in my own testing, it is faster, full stop. If I'm just running 2 commands back to back, the first command might take 30 seconds and the second command 30 seconds. We're at a minute. If I ran that inside of Recoup Sandboxes, it's always going to be about 2.5 minutes. So it's 1 minute versus 5 minutes. That's a 5x reduction in time on the same commands. So agent startup latency, we're going to steal it. We're going to use that. Get management consistency. This is more on us. Right now, it's a very deterministic inside of the trigger.dev task versus a much more agentic syncing. So Git management, we're going to steal that. Sandbox observability, definitely steal. Right now, our sandboxes on Recoup are not observable at all, whereas in open agents, it's highly observable. So we'll steal sandbox observability. And item potency is the same as our Git. It's more of how we're formulating it on trigger.dev tasks as opposed to a standalone agent that has access to a sandbox. So this should get fixed with us not doing all those deterministic calls inside of the trigger.dev task. We're ready to test again. Okay, auto logs us in, takes us over to sessions. Let's try a new session. From a repository, choose repositories, moment of truth. We're now seeing the ability to log in. Going to authorize it on my behalf. And okay, it did not redirect me to where we wanted to go. So let's try opening this again and see if it still works, even though from repository, choose repositories. Womp womp. OAuth with GitHub was successful now. However, on sign-in success, I am redirected to a 404 page. Here's the app I see on my manage page. It's going to try to do the same thing. You won't be able to go over there because you don't have a Vercel login. Well, I mean, I guess I'll be, you can. Look at that. Found it. What happened? App is private, but the OAuth flow defaulted to private app plus wrong target. Okay. On the app manage page, scroll down to where it can be installed. Where install. App managers, general. Where can I find it? Not here. Not here. Nope. Nope. I'm not seeing. I am not seeing that button anymore. I originally selected anyone. Are you sure that's the issue? I thought I originally selected anyone. This app exists. You're right. Let me reconsider. Yada yada. Confirm the installation scope setting. On the manage page, scroll all the way down the section I'm thinking of. Advanced. Ah, you're right. Here's make public. You were absolutely right. I now changed it to be public. Good catch. It was in the advanced section. Okay, let's try it again. Boom, okay, so now I can see it. Let's go back to I installed the app successfully and was redirected here to a 404 page. And with this, it is time for me to start wrapping up. I have another call I need to get to. So in an hour, we were able to get the majority of the way through setting up everything. Looks like I had a couple trailing spaces, so it preserves exactly what was in there. I had made an error of not deleting trailing white spaces. So I'll clean that up and I'll keep going through this. But overall, I am going to be stealing everything that is inside of Open Agents, and you should be seeing those changes soon on recoupable.com. Thank you for tuning in.